welcome to this edition of Templar Talks. It was supposed to have an intro. It was supposed to be all polished. We were supposed to be in a studio with microphones, and we're sat here on benches.
Yeah, and I've covered the bird shit.
Yeah, it's very glamorous. But we figured what is the date today? It's the start of June. It's the date of LEC Athens, whenever that's going on.
Good luck, Rocco.
Good luck, Rocco, indeed. He is playing right now. I believe he's 1-1 right now.
Oh, really? I'm not following that.
Oh, okay. He dropped round 1. He was on the draw against Mono Green and lost 1-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. But yeah, no, we figured we'd make the most of the weather here in the UK.
It's glorious.
Yeah, it's not often this nice. But it finally looks like summer's arrived, so we figured we'd film outside. And to make up for it, there is going to be 2 parts to this episode in that we're going to be covering Lord of the Rings. So today, myself and Tod Doe are going to be covering the kind of the Magic players' perspective. I say Magic players, I'll use that term loosely for us. And then I'm going to be doing an episode with the store manager of Athena Games, Mitch, who is going to be coming in from... he doesn't play Magic at all. He obviously knows a lot about Magic because he works in a game store. But coming from the Lord of the Rings fandom side of it, do they like it? What is their fan base thinking, etc., etc. So when I say the Magic player side, obviously we're not. This isn't going to be kind of a who from the team. So like Phil, Jay, well, most of Team Templar, I guess. Most of the Templar guys are very in deep with the. Oh, what card can I break and all this kind of thing.
There's
what
some
can work
analysis happening.
a lot of analysis, you know, sideboard choices and stuff like that for decks every tournament. Me and Todd are more on the kind of... Well, I think the only reason we, personally, I think the only reason we get results at all is because we're both just incredibly competitive people to the point that we just will ourselves to win. But we, you know, I like to net deck personally.
Yeah, I'm a net decker.
Yeah, I like to crack packs. I like to enjoy the game.
Phil and Jay can do all the work. They can all analyse and find new cards and have the, I bought this £25 mythic for £1 on release. And I'll be like, what's that? Yes, I'll pay £25, please.
Yeah. It's actually funny, a lot of the guys from Athena, I know Athena Games, our local game store, do a lot of speculation and kind of, you know, I mean, like buying pre-orders cheap and trying to see what the market will do. But, you know, I'm very much in the mindset of, you know, if a card breaks the format, I will just pay the iron price for it.
I need that card for my net deck.
Yeah, job done. But I think that's the thing. You know, shout out to everyone that is selling like sideboard guides on Patreons and stuff, because for me that stuff is gold dust.
It's hard work. I appreciate the work that you put in. I don't have time for that.
Honestly, again, we're doing lots of shout outs and rambling here, but James Gurney put together like a ridiculous spreadsheet of sideboard stuff for Pioneer before he won his RCQ, and it was just like, I don't know anything about this. Like, fair play for trying to come up with it.
No, I think he earned that win. Definitely.
Yeah, he did well.
Prepped well, and like sometimes prep does help. I'm a believer of the luck. I think you either sit in that chair and get like an easy route to the top, or you're like, oh god, this is miserable.
That's the way though. But Lord of the Rings. So we've had the full set as of yesterday. Hence why. So yesterday was. It's kind of annoying because I wanted to refer to the most recently spoiled cards, but yesterday was all Commander. So all of these cards are completely irrelevant for the discussion of in Modern. Yeah. Looks like some cool stuff.
Should we talk about how we know that they're legal for Modern or not?
Yeah. I mean, they could have done it better, right?
So even in the boosters, right, that you can get cards that are not Modern legal.
Even in I think, I might be wrong here, but I think even in the pre-release packs, you get a card that you cannot play in your pre-release.
Wow.
So you get like your pre-release promo and then another promo, but you can't play the promo.
Yeah.
So everyone, shout out to everyone that's hosting events at local game stores and trying to explain. I know it happened in, there was another set where they did it, didn't they? They gave out like a Multiverse Legend in, like there was a card that wasn't legal and people were like playing it, and you know, it's this I could rant about this for ages, so we're not going to go too much into it.
But if
it's
you
stupid.
are opening those packs, white ring, no,
Yep.
full foily hollow gold ring, okay.
But white ring, if it's the common symbol, that's okay too.
Yes.
So if it's a ring within something else, if the white ring in something else, not good. White ring on its own, okay.
They haven't made this complicated at all.
Yep, and I think every card has like the triangle hollow thing, right? Because it's all Universes Beyond.
Yeah, all Universes Beyond, so they all have the little Universes Beyond.
So you can't even use like the acorn or whatever they did for Infinity. You know what I mean? When they changed the shape of the.
I appreciate the experimentation, Wizards.
But
I do.
I don't know. I don't. But like, so modern legal cards. We're gonna be focused on that. Really quickly gonna brush over it. From my point of view, I've looked at this set as a Commander set. I'm gassed for the stuff that's coming out in Commander. The Bilbo 111 life or whatever it is, banter, love it.
Yeah.
I want that. I want to build Commander decks. I like the Gimli. There's a lot of cards in there that I'm a fan of in Commander.
I bought all 4 of the pre-cons. I bought one collector booster because I do like a bit of
A
gambling.
single collector booster.
Yeah, but I'm going to get the One Ring because I went and saw the Two Towers 7 times in the cinema, so I'm obviously a fanboy.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good thing actually as well for some context to those viewing and listening. We are both Lord of the Rings fans, but from the point of view primarily of the films, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
I read The Hobbit. Did you read The Hobbit?
The Hobbit is
good.
fantastic. Yeah.
My little 10-year-old, 11-year-old self got about halfway through the first Lord of the Rings book.
I appreciate that because I think
up.
I got 2 chapters through and he was still describing the Shire, and I was like, okay, Tolkien, mate, I get it. They've got some interesting fauna.
Yeah, it was. I have, you know, I read a lot when I was younger, but I got really into like crime thrillers. So they were typically like 200 to 300 page books that were like story arc closed, done, onto the next chapter. Whereas Lord of the Rings is very sprawling.
My like childhood favourite book, this is mad tangent,
Oh, okay.
was Darren Shan's Cirque de Freak series. Yeah, they made a movie about it,
Okay.
which I think is horrific.
Okay.
But he was like, he came to my primary school, and like I'd read the books, and I was like, oh my god, this is lit. I got him to sign. I even did that thing where you laminate when you like cover a book with plastic. So I completely devalued the fuck out of this signed book. But
see, I mean, like super childhood books, Horrible Histories was like bangers.
Obviously, they're still big props. You know?
But funnily enough, though, I always my least favourite book as a child. I know we're going on a massive tangent here, but funny enough, I did like the films, but I hated the Harry Potter books. I thought they were so badly written. Like I liked the idea of like I was like the world's cool, but I was just like these are badly put together.
I think the last few books are better than the first books.
I didn't. I gave up after the first 3.
Yeah.
I just watched the films.
I don't think the like Half-Blood Prince and all of the later movies are as good as the books were.
Spoiler warning, you're so late if this is a spoiler. I think it was Half-Blood Prince. Is spoiler warning, is Snape the Half-Blood Prince? Is that the thing?
I don't know exactly when he...
So whatever the film was when they reveal that Snape is the guy, right?
Yeah.
I watched it in France with my girlfriend at the time, and the subtitles for Half-Blood for Snape was Half-Blood Prince, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then the big reveal was like 2 hours later. It was either that or like Half-Blood Prince was subtitled Snape. Like it was the most ridiculous. Like, oh, okay, sure. But yeah, it was in English subtitled to French, but they just didn't do that, I guess. But anyway, back to Lord of the Rings. Modern legality, I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like the fact that it was going to be legal in Modern. But I do think we've had a bit of a classic Commander Legends Baldur's Gate here, where everyone thought it was going to be Modern Horizons 3. I do not think this set is Modern Horizons 3.
No.
It's like dog water compared to Modern Horizons 3. And it's the same thing with Baldur's Gate. Commander Legends 1 came out, absolute, you know, jacked to hell, and then the second one came out, really cool set, but it wasn't what people thought it was going to be.
They're definitely leaning on theme over power,
Yes.
I think, and I'm personally buzzing for Commander's Legends, but price-wise, Commander Legends is also
Commander Masters.
Commander Masters.
Yeah, they keep changing the names. I know, tell me
It
about it.
is. It looks like Red Flag, you know, £600 for a booster box. Like
See, I don't.
It's criminal.
It's not that much. It's not that much. I don't think it's that.
What is it?
bad.
485.
So, draft boxes I think are 300, and set boxes are 400.
Okay.
So basically, from the last Master set, it was 250. Now it's 300, and for me, that's inflation.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
they need to keep.
To be fair, I don't know what their printing costs are.
I mean, it's bad, right? They're still making money, but I know obviously everyone kind of, goes on about how terrible WotC are and they're the most evil people ever, because they keep wanting to make profit. But effectively, they're, if your local restaurant puts their prices up 20% because of inflation and because of the cost of ingredients and so on, goes up 20%, everyone's like, fair play. I don't think the costs, maybe the costs haven't gone up 15-20%, but with all the the European issue with Brexit and shipping and problems like that, I can imagine the costs have gone up, and they want to maintain their margins. If you hate WotC for it, you just hate capitalism. That's all there is to it, basically. They want their money, and we give it to them.
And I want them to keep making product, to be fair.
Yeah.
Especially if it is as good as the Universes Beyond kind of. I think that is a win, and it's a consistency that I appreciate, considering some of the inconsistency that WotC has given us previously with, like random set. I mean, jump starts now a thing that's permanent. I didn't know that was going to be permanent. And
yeah, they're kind of funny with that as well, because one is usually good, and then they release a bad one, and then a good one, and then a bad one.
Yeah.
I think the Lord of the Rings one is due to be a bad one. So.
Right. Well, I didn't. Again, now I'm learning that Lord of the Rings has a jump start.
Oh yeah,
product.
did you not know? Yeah. So Lord of the Rings, quick rundown: it's jump start, secret lair, gift bundles, collectors bundles like art bundles. Precons, and then the draft set collectors, and then special edition collectors.
See, I don't know if I'm a fan of that, because I liked the clarity of Warhammer.
Yeah, but
Universes
Warhammer I think is getting more stuff.
Oh,
I might be wrong there, but the big one I have an issue with, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but they're doing collectors boosters, which they always do. They do one print run, they don't print them again, like obviously you could serialize cards. But because it's Lord of the Rings, they think it's going to sell out. So they're doing special edition collector's boosters, which are exactly the same as collector's boosters without the serialized cards. No difference. But they're called special edition collector's boosters.
So they're special with less.
Yes.
Okay.
Which to me is insane. Like that's like, you should have called this one the special edition.
Yeah.
And then
had normal.
Yeah.
No, maybe. Well, I don't know if they intended this one ring to really pop off the way it did.
Oh,
but obviously,
I think they did.
It's created a buzz, and I know there's a legal ramification to it being a promised card.
Yeah.
Right, so I think it's 1 in 3 million.
That is the odds.
That's the odds. So I don't know how many packs that equates to. Right, is that literally there is 1 pack in 3 million packs that could have the one ring?
I guess it must be.
Which means...
Because I assume there's one slot that can be one of the serialised cards, so I guess...
So then you're making that the quantification of we cannot make more than 3 million packs. So...
Yeah, but it's the same.
Hindsight,
it's the same with all the collectors, all the previous collectors products. They just do not print them again. They just do one print run, done. And they used to do that with Modern Horizons 1. I think was the first set they did a second wave of the Masters premium sets. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. So obviously, as potato Magic players, we're going to talk more about the finance and the collector stuff of it, because that's what we're into. But really quickly to brush over modern, have you seen any cards that you think might be modern playable? Off the top of your head? We're not even going to put them on screen because we don't even know them that well. Like, we're just chatting shit.
My card assessment skill is it 3 mana or less?
Yeah.
And
A lot of the big splashy cards, like the Aragons and
Yeah, I
shit,
mean, I
aren't going to be
know-
playable because they're too expensive.
yeah, exactly. And so I think there's 1 mana dork, which looked mildly interesting. But
So I believe the one you mean is 1 green. It taps for a generic mana or coloured mana for a legendary creature.
Yeah.
Legendary card, and that legendary card can't be countered.
yes, I think that has a possibility to crack something in modern, because counter magic is good. Being not able to be countered is good.
See, I think that's a given because it works with Teferi. So Teferi's a legendary planeswalker.
Yeah,
Can't
so
count
maybe
your turn 3 Teferi.
that's a Bant deck ready to be cracked.
Turn 1 mana dork. Turn 2 Teferi. Uncounterable.
Uncounterable, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Makes Murktide look pretty bad.
Yep.
So yeah, any card I think like if I was Phil or Jay, I would be on some website filtering for mana cost 3 or less, with some other criteria, right? Some cracked colours and just sifting through and going actually. And Wizards, they push cards. They are a bit hesitant with some cards, so you get your Skrelfs, which are like fixed Mother of Runes or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So you're looking for the card they pushed and the cards they didn't push that actually they held back on but are still really good. Skrelf sees playing Pioneer,
Yeah.
he sees playing Modern.
Kind of.
Yeah, in your infect decks.
Yeah.
So I think if I was trying to card assess, which I'm not, I'm going to let someone else do that for me. Thanks, guys. That's what I'd be looking for. And I've seen talk of that 1 green card. I think the criteria there is pretty wide to do some pretty busted stuff.
So the other 2 cards, and again to show the lack of prep, I can't remember the exact wording on it, but there is a counter spell for 1 blue that I think counters any creature under 2 mana.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Or 2 toughness, 2 power. Ah, shit.
It's 2 power.
2 power, because it hits a lot of the top play cards
Yeah,
in
it
Modern.
hits. Seasoned Pyro was one that you might not think it hits. It hits,
Yep.
obviously, Ragavan and all of those cards. Again, I think there is a saturation of counter magic. I don't know if I personally, like my decks of choice are proactive. I find when you're playing a reactive deck, and this is where James, Team Templar James, is actually like next level for me. I don't give him much credit, but when I do, he plays control really well. He's got the patience for that. He's got the threat assessment for that. Not like his Commander game threat assessment, which is dreadful, or League of Legends. But he's a very mean control player to play against. I think deck choice there, someone, again, Eric Zhao as well, my nemesis, will probably somehow punish me with that card in the future.
Yeah.
Where I would try and fit it in a deck, there'd probably be times where I'm like, this is dead in my hand. I have handicapped myself. Oh Lord, this is useless.
I think it's going to be... I mean, Murktide is the obvious deck that's going to pick it up, but instead of maybe Spell Pierces, Spell Snares, like it can fill that flex slot. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Merfolk, I'm going to be trying it in Merfolk.
But the interpretation there as well in decks, and like coming from someone who net decks, I will look at a Murktide list, right, when I think it's in a good place, and I'm obviously wrong. You look at all these deck lists, and there's this expression from your Team Templar Jameses and your Eric Zhao's and some other probably Hall of Fame control players. Who's the other good one?
Gabby on the Sea.
That's it.
Is pretty
the
good at
What's
blue-white
it? Trophy
control.
Boy. What's it called?
Yellow Hat.
who will have made a list and it will have cracked an MTGO challenge, and I'll be like, oh yes, that looks good. Okay, I'll take that, and I'll expect to go to my FNM and crush the field, and then actually
free drop.
they've really well considered the field and they know why
Yeah.
they've got their one of whatever this new counter spell is. They'll have one mental misstep or something, and it'll be for a matchup, and they'll know when to side it in and side it out. Whereas Monkey, me, net decking will take it to FNM against
crushed.
a like mono black something.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, useless.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I think it's funny though, because on the so I think that's why Murktide has such low win rate, because I think people can't play it. Like and people picked it up because it's good, but it's a very hard deck. But I think on the flip side of that, I found it quite funny. I will actually put this link below. Someone on Twitter, I forget their name, did an entire like rundown of mono green games in Pioneer and how much the sideboard matters. And obviously everyone's like, oh yeah, I've got this sick sideboard tech for mono green.
Yeah.
And like I think it was only 2 cards have like any meaningful impact on the game. So it's kind of like your card board doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You just think it does. I mean, obviously it does, but you know what I mean? Like on the flip side, people think that they've broken it, but really.
I again, like, not an expert, don't take my word for anything really. There are definitely times where players will play a win more card and think that it was the thing that won them the game.
Yeah.
When actually those other cards could have been more reactive, more defensive, more impactful in their matchups.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think there's definitely going to be people misassessing cards that are busted strong, but actually you don't need them in your deck. They are just there to win more when you're already winning.
Yeah.
So I think that's one to watch out for if you're a green Magic player looking to get in the game. Assessing what happened, what won you the game, and what maybe even lost you the game is much more important than playing the flashy big Teferi.
Yeah, definitely.
And thinking it won you the game.
And the last card as well that I think might actually see play in Modern here. There are a few more, but these are like the 3 highlights for me. Orcish Bowmasters, the black, 1 black, 1 generic. It's a 1/1 creature. When it enters the battlefield, or what's the other caveat? When an opponent draws their second card, or like not their first card.
Oh yeah, these draw
deals 1
second
damage.
card
But
things,
importantly, I think for me, it's 2 mana, does 1 damage to a Ragavan, creates a 1/1 to block Ragavan, and is a 1/1 to block Ragavan. So it's like the ultimate. Your DRCs and Ragavans are not going to survive the early game.
This is a push Magic card.
Yeah.
That is a card that they saw being good, or someone was like, this is flavor, and they were all Lord of the Rings thematic, and it slipped through quality control.
Well, on this little sheet I've got here as well, I'm seeing a lot of rares. You know, $1.48. You know, $1.34. That one is $28.63 as of right now on Goldfish. So it's you know, it's one of
it's been
the
earmarked
chase
as
cards.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm now feeling like I might want to go home and look through this list.
Yeah.
But that Bowmaster, there is a clear, obvious application to that in Modern.
Yeah.
And
but potentially people could overplay as well.
Agreed, but I'm thinking this is a pretty strong Ledger Shredder counter, because you know you build your deck to invest in drawing, conniving, and then every time you connive, your opponent makes their army bigger.
Oh no! Does it amass on the draws? Yes, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Right, so you're
gaining as well.
Oh, yes, please.
I think it's very anti-Murktide tech, and I think it. Well, actually, we say it's anti-Murktide tech. I think it could maybe push into like more Grixis builds. Of Death Shadow again.
I mean,
stuff like that coming back.
It does feel a bit sideboardy. There's definitely times, unless you are buying into the one. Is it triggers on both? You and opponent.
No, just an opponent.
Right, so
but it's every draw after the first draw of each turn.
So I feel that is very much a sideboard card.
Yeah.
I don't think you're putting that in your main deck unless you're some next level gamer and you're like, everyone's going to be playing Murktide this weekend. I don't think that sees mainboard play because you are not in control of its effect.
Yeah.
Your opponent is in control, and again, that's for me. Like you said, we're super competitive, but maybe not analysts. As a confident Magic player, I think we all, blocking. Combat favours the blocker. You know,
Right, yeah.
If your opponent's in control of your value, you're getting less value than you think you are.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But yeah, so those are the 3 cards that stood out. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there will be a couple of playable cards, but the big point I want to get across from like my personal opinion is this set is not going to affect Modern half as much as everyone thought it was. It is not Modern Horizons 3. This, to me, is going to affect Modern as much as the standard set does. Fable, you know what I mean? Like, you always get a few cards.
Yeah. 2 or 3, 2 to 5 cards that are going to
I think this might
see
get up to 10.
sideboard.
Might get up to 10.
I don't know.
But it's not Modern Horizons where it like shifts the entire meta. Like,
yeah.
At least that's my take. You know, hot take maybe. Maybe I'm going to be wrong, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think it would be bad for the game as well if it did overly affect, because Magic's about Magic and Magic lore. Having your Frodo or whatever is good fun, but you don't want it to be your game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't want your modern meta to be full of
hobbits.
yeah. Like we already have a struggle to keep up with the creature types, right?
It was so funny when it happened recently at like a big event. Someone cast a Inquisition of Kozilek thinking it was a duress or something because it was a Strixhaven set. Like, you know what I mean? It was like that's the rabbit hole we've got down of all these variants.
Well, like talking of variants, and this Lord of the Rings set, like I said, I'm a little bit uncomfortable that they've spread it so wide across the products that WotC offer. I love a secret lair.
Yeah.
I think secret lairs were a huge win for Wizards, and they're direct to the market, and they allow for freedom of expression in the artworks that I really appreciate and understand. Mm-hmm. The collector's boosters, I'm not sure I can get behind the amount of variants that they put into those. And actually there are so many duds, and the secret lairs they're pushed for the art. They get artists in, they reward artists, they reward players. I love all of that. The collector's boosters, when you've got 6, 7 different variants of one arse card, and it just spreads it. It messes up. I mean, the hours of work people have to put in on Card Market to list all of it. I just don't see the value.
Funny enough, actually, it happened to me today. I bought in my Merfolk deck, I have 2 etched foils still, Svalin of Sea and Sky, and I've ordered the foils because they're my last 2 cards I need to foil properly. Got one through in the post today from Card Market. It's an etched foil. Same card number. There is no distinguishing feature on the card like the serialized or anything like that in terms of like the set number. It is 393 of Modern Horizons. I think it's 393. It's something 93. Etched and foil, exactly the same. So unless you are like in deep and you know that there's a different foiling and different pricing, you're going to make mistakes like that. I don't blame the seller. I blame it's a silly system.
And that's another thing, I'm talking about variants. I'm talking about your showcases, your half showcases, your quarter showcases.
But I do think the panoramic art cards they've done in this set are unbelievable.
100%. And I want that playmat from Command Fest. So hit me up. Anybody going to Command Fest. I can't make it. I'm gutted. I love a bit of CEDH, and that panoramic Lord of the Rings mat.
It is unbelievable.
Whoever thought that was a good idea, you need to you get in contact. Sign it for me, please.
I agree. Like I think the panoramic stuff is amazing. I think so. For me, I really like collector's boosters. So we spoke a little bit before filming about the recent episode of Dice to Removal, Pleasant Kenobi and the Professor from Tolarian Community College. Their take on it was that they hate collectors, it's too expensive, like too many variants and so on. I completely agree that there's too many variants. It makes it complicated, convoluted, there's too many variants. But I didn't agree with the take that I don't know what's in a collector's booster. Because it does change every set, but that's what keeps it, for me, opening, that's what keeps it interesting. Because, like, you know, you're always going to get different rares and so on, but they do make it very, very clear. Like, there's literally like a thing of like, these are the slots in your booster listed. And
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Personally, I think that's fine. I wish there weren't as many variants, but I personally think collector's boosters are great, and I think, if anything, they should be more expensive, not less. Because, you know, it's like, if every car cost $250,000, then that would be a problem globally for society. However, the fact that there are cars that cost $250,000 is fine, because they're not for mass consumption. They are for the people that want to blow $250,000 on a car.
Yeah.
That's why I love this law, you know, the one ring thing. Because if you're Cassius Marsh, if you've got millions of dollars and you want to blow $1 million on a card, good for you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't have to play Alpha like near Mint Islands. I can play ones from Zendikar Rising for 5p. Like
I do.
you know.
It's interesting. I think what I hope is that it stays the one ring.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think we want this every year, every 5 years even. I don't think we want this one ring thing again. I think it is an amazing opportunity for a collector, for someone who's got that kind of money. And I agree, collector's boosters have the whale market that they're aiming towards. And I personally, I've bought one collector's booster because I will like the feeling of gambling.
Yeah.
I also like that you can find out what's in your slots or how the slots are laid out, but also that's not for me. I'm going to enjoy the experience of just not knowing and opening that pack and being like, oh, wow.
So a small spoiler to what's in it, like a very small spoiler. The reason I think collector's boosters specifically are not overpriced, particularly in this Lord of the Rings one. So a draft booster is probably about £5 in the UK. Collector's booster I think is about £30, £35. Very expensive. Collector's boosters are guaranteed to have 5 rare or mythic cards. So already you're 5 times the value of a draft booster. You know, in terms of like the actual meat and potatoes content that people actually, you know, you see it at every GP, every event, people open their draft prize pack, bin the first 14 cards, what's the rare? You know, that's how it is.
Oh, well, we've seen some funny stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen some people stand over the bin, crack a pack, and just yeet
Yeah, honestly.
the top layer straight into the bin.
I'll never forget it. Birmingham, Edgbaston Cricket Ground, the Gathering, the first big Axiom event. There was a vendor there I can't remember the name of that was selling like expensive old packs, like wild shit, like up to £200. Someone bought like, I can't remember what the booster was, but it was like a £40 to £50 booster pack. Literally stood over a bin and just threw the cards into the bin one after the other until they got to the rare, looked at it for a second, threw that in the bin and walked off. And I was like, my man, that is the equivalent of burning money. Like, that is what we're doing by opening boosters, right? Like,
it is a gamble, and I agree. You're like you said, you on a draft booster, if you buy a draft booster, you are gambling £5 to maybe get maximum 25. You get your Orcish Bowmaster or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're just going up the stakes. You're going to the collector's booster. Again, you have 5 chances. It's like a scratch card. You have 5 chances to make, £1 to £25.
But the difference is you're guaranteed the foil and the showcase and the weird stuff, which I think is why, for me, I personally, I will 100% commit to this statement, and I can be hated for it, whatever. It's not like a, out of touch thing. It is literally, if you are opening draft boosters to try and get cards, you are high, right? Like, they have literally made set boosters with multiple rare slots per pack and you know what I mean? You are guaranteed to get more rares from a set box than a draft box, almost guaranteed, right? And they're almost the same price. There is no reason to open a draft box. Draft it with your friends, that's what it's for. And I like that they've done that. I like that this is the collector's product, like the set boosters, this is what you open if you want to, this is what you draft. And I think people are getting really, really touchy about the price of, I think Magic is too expensive, but draft and set are relative. Like, they're always within 5%, 10% of each other. they're the product that we open as a community to play with, to collect. If you're opening collector's boosters, that's like getting mad at the dude in the Ferrari. And like, you can get mad at the dude in the Ferrari, but if you had the Ferrari, you'd probably want the Ferrari.
Yeah.
I want a Ferrari,
Yeah.
right? Like, I know.
I want a Black Lotus,
Yeah.
but I won't pay for it. But
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It's, I don't know, like, if your friend won Euro Millions and then bought a Black Lotus, would you? Of course, you'd want the Black Lotus. You'd be jealous about it, but you can't be mad at those luck situations, those kind of things that, you know, get mad at the wealth disparity within society. Like, the global wealth distribution is fucked, but don't bring it into Magic, because wizards are just seeing it as like, oh, hang on, restaurants? You can have McDonald's and you can have 3 Michelin star restaurants. How do we get the people going here to buy?
yeah, they've widened their market,
Yeah.
right? And I do appreciate that. And like, if you don't like it, if you're not buying it, that's your protest.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not buying it, that's your protest. But
And it
someone
was
is
great
buying
that
it.
people did it with 30th edition, 30th anniversary, whatever it
Yeah.
was, because that bombed. No one wanted it.
Yeah.
And that is good, because that was the ultimate, like, this is the Ferrari product, you know, £250.
And not just that, but actually the fact that people are winning those packs from the WPN stores.
Yeah.
I like, that is a joy. Like, and trust me, I'd be cracking that if I won it. Right.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
going to
yeah.
try and ship that. I think that is a good reward for players to have that product. And
shout out, huge shout out to Langdon Games from Ipswich and Skyward Fire Games, Lower Stoff. When there are RCQs and WPN events, bigger events, they give the prizes in equivalent, so like credit. You know what I mean? Like, you've got 10 set boosters, but you can get whatever.
Yeah.
And that means you're not going to an event where you just get handed 12 draft boosters. What am I going to, you know, for me, if I have 12 draft boosters, I'm going to have to wait till I get another 24 so I can draft with my friends.
Yeah.
I'm not going to open them. I'm going to give them away. I'm going to do whatever. I don't understand why people are still opening draft boosters, giving them away as prizes. And quite frankly as well, I don't get why people have such a problem with, you know, these are the ones you play with, these are the ones you open and collect.
Yeah.
You know, they've literally, you know, I think they labelled it Project Booster Fun, how to make opening boosters fun again. It was always fun.
Yeah.
Opening boosters was always fun. It's just now they've given you an avenue that is, these are the ones that give you better value. Like, set boosters are better value in terms of the, you know, rares you'll get. And these are the ones you play with. And
my caveat for booster fun is, if I win a booster, I have more fun opening it, because it's low stakes. And let's be honest, as a team, we buy singles, right?
Yeah.
To play the game, we're buying singles. We're not cracking packs to play the game unless we're drafting. And actually, people shouldn't think of cracking packs as a way to build your deck.
Yeah.
And actually, cracking packs is fun, especially when you win them.
Yeah.
I don't do that very often, but when I do, it's fun.
Yeah, 100%. I think, and that's the other, you know, again, in the Dice to Removal episode, they referenced that there were two sides of the argument. I believe Kenobi was on one side, the Professor was on the other, and it was that collector boosters have brought prices of cards down. I agree with that. The caveat to that, the Professor's argument was, shout out the fly that's attacking Todd. The caveat to that was that Sheldred is still like 60 quid, like a standard card.
Yeah.
The reason Sheldred is that much money is the collector's packs of that set didn't have the variants, didn't have the serialized cards, so they weren't being cracked as frequently as the sets since. And quite frankly as well, just like all the cards that spiked from Ikoria and like the sets that came out during COVID, there isn't that much else in the set that anyone wants.
Yeah.
So, as is always the way with a standard set, like, you know, when Tarmogoyf first, you know, oh my god, that one card, we need it.
But that was always a rare as well, I think, Tarmogoyf. It was never a mythic to begin with, right?
To begin with.
So,
true.
even the fact that Sheldred is a mythic slot card reduces its circulation as well.
Yeah.
And it's always difficult when a mythic is your chase. You know, when the rare's the chase, we're much better off.
Yeah, just to quickly get it up as well, to put it in perspective, get it up, hey, giggity. If I go to the prices of, what set is Sheldred in? It's
It's not
fucking
March,
Dominaria United, right?
I don't know. Again, I'm not an analyst. I don't look at the set symbols.
Dominaria.
No, it'd be Phyrexia, wouldn't it?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? I don't know. No, it was Dominaria United. So, if I go to Dominaria United on, this is just the main set, this is not variants from collector's boosters right now. Are you really gonna be cracking as a collector, like buying collector's boxes? There are 4 cards in the set over $10.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
that's why it's expensive. You have Leyline Binding, $10 at Rare. Timeless Lotus, $16 at Mythic. No idea even what that does. Haven't seen it. Don't know why it's.
You haven't seen Timeless Lotus?
What does it do?
That is Michael's.
Enters oh, that shit that he's playing. Okay, yeah, I have seen it.
What do you mean? The best variant of Amulet Titan?
Liliana of the Veil, at Mythic, at $17, and then we jump up to $73.88.
Sorry, is Liliana of the Veil now $17?
$17.97.
I might have to pick me up some Lily.
Yeah, I
and
bought.
Play Boomer Johns.
I bought in at 15 quid, I think. I was like, yeah. I'll buy
What a
Lily
time
now.
to be alive!
But
and we're complaining about all these cards.
This is what I mean.
We dropped the
Sheldred.
price.
The reason Sheldred is so expensive is kind of sees playing modern a little bit. Big playing Pioneer, big playing Standard. Like it is, and Commander. It's a hell of a Commander card too. So it's often the exception to the rule. If you go to any other kind of set, you've got what's the latest one? March of the Machine, right? So
Oh
many
no,
fucking
sorry,
sets.
it's Aftermath.
Oh yeah, is that even Standard legal? Oh, again, with Nissa though, that one, it's the only card that's worth money.
Oh,
right?
don't. That does annoy me. I've got to admit, because I look at that card and I think, oh yeah, I'd like to play with that card, but because it's so limited, it's hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
So that's one I'll wait to drop, hopefully.
But again, March of the Machine, most expensive card $20, Evasion of Ikoria $13, Gobakan $10. The sets are becoming more affordable, and I guarantee that March of the Machine, shout out Watsy for putting Ragavan in the shitty legend slot, because it means people are cracking these packs, and the actual standard cards. I couldn't believe it. Invasion of Gobakan, I was like, oh, I kind of need to pick up some. It's going to be the chase rare. It's like £6.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's the chase rare?
Yeah.
Nice, cool. And it's because they're doing these things that are making people open them.
Yeah.
And I hope that's the case with Orcish Bowmasters, because people are going to be cracking for the One Ring.
Yeah.
That the price of everything else is going to go down, which is great.
True. Until we've cracked all 3 million boosters.
Yeah,
And then people are like, oh, I haven't got it.
Yeah.
Do you imagine? We'll see. I wonder, my biggest thing about that is I wonder, I don't know, how's it distributed? What countries could it be opened in?
I believe any, but it's English only packs.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I don't think we'll ever see it, because I think it will either be destroyed in the sense of it will be in a warehouse, it will be stock loss, or it will be bought by someone who will then not say anything. I'm not tinfoiling, I know some people I've spoken to are saying...
the person opening it will sell it privately and will never... Yeah.
Or the person opening it will sit on it. And literally, buy... say if I had $250,000 to burn on Magic products, or $1 million, whatever, if I opened the One Ring, or equally if I could acquire the One Ring very quietly, you would just buy pallets, as many as you could get your hand of collector's boxes, and then you just wait.
Yeah.
And then as the price goes up, because the One Ring has still not been found, you start selling off those boxes, you make a fortune, and then 2 years' time, oh, I opened the One Ring. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, I see.
You know
that's
what I mean?
Very sinister.
But that's why so many of the trade offers that have been up, the original ones, obviously Cassius Marsh, people like that are doing it because they just want the card. They want a bit of Magic history. But a lot of the people putting up bounties for it had stipulations of, you cannot reveal that you've opened this. You have to contact me, get me the card quietly, do the sale. And you know, a lot of the advice from big auction houses like sellers like Star City is if you get the card, keep it very quiet, don't tell anyone about it, don't tell your LGS, whatever, you know, sell it on the low, and then whoever buys it can do their evil market manipulation, and because of that, you'll probably get a high price. You know, if I get it, I'm going to shout it from the fucking rooftop, sell it for $1 million, and donate half of it to charity. But like, I don't care. You know, I haven't got the mindset of the evil investor.
I mean, you get that with the lottery, though, don't you? I appreciate everybody who reveals that they've won the lottery, because that's like a bit of a. You don't really want to be that face, do you? Don't want to be known for that in your local area or whatever, because people don't understand it necessarily, don't appreciate that you got lucky, and treat you differently. And like the One Ring, I think it is a bit of protest if you do reveal it that you opened it, because you brick the product, and fine, good. That's what it's for, right? Let's celebrate the card, the print.
And to all those people saying they're going to throw it in a volcano, no, you're not. Shut up. Like, are you stupid? Like, I'm sorry.
I don't know. If you GoFundMe page that, I will fund you to do it.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you do it on a GoFundMe, then yes, sure. But
let's fund it to happen. Right?
If you open the One Ring, have no financial motivation to do so, like you're an influencer or whatever, and you destroy it on camera, you need to be put in a padded ring. Like, you actually, like, you could have given that money to charity. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, I want. Right, here we go. This is the dream, okay? You crack the One Ring, you start a GoFundMe page. Elijah Wood, and who played Samwise Gamgee? I don't even know.
I don't know either. He's in bloody Stranger Things as well. I can't remember the actor's name.
Right, there you go. Those two actors, right, you go with them on a journey around the world to eventually end up over a volcano, and you reenact the final scene. Oh, who played Gollum? He was famous.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, there we go. We need everyone on board for this.
Oh, well,
I would be so behind that.
Drop a couple more million on hiring some like mercenaries, put a hit out on yourself to like try and stop you getting there, you know what I mean? Like Apache helicopters coming in.
Oh, I wonder how many people are watching Lord of the Rings cuts now, like with this set though. I do think it's a good idea.
It is. But
I'm all behind this.
To wrap it up, we've rambled for way too long. I don't think there's been any useful takes on the set in
Modern. We'll cut out the even worse bits as well.
Yeah, and, no, it's all staying in. There's no cuts here. It's just a rambling conversation on two. I say magic boomers. You're a bit of a magic boomer, aren't you? You've been playing a while. I'm
a magic boomer. I'm not an actual boomer. No, I'm paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. On that note, we'll see you for the special episode on Monday. We are going to be moving to a different upload schedule. Instead of Sundays, it's going to be Mondays as of next week. But there will be the special episode with Mitch from from Athena Games, the manager there.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Indeed, great guy.
He gives us 50 minutes rounds, so.
He does. Yeah.
Not like Team Templar member Alex also works.
45 minute games.
Oh, he makes it up. 42 minutes. And then the rest of them, they're like, "What's the time?"
Mitch is going to be on talking about.
You've got 5 additional turns. Can you wrap it up, please? From
the Lord of the Rings perspective, the fandom perspective. So we'll see what that podcast mess ends up in. But it's been a pleasure as always. We'll be rambling again at some point in the future.
I've been fired, but hey.
Yeah, sure. Well, sure, whatever. We'll have that as the outro, I guess. You know. Anything else?
It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you for tuning in.
Subscribe.
69 views only. If you're 70, no.
Fuck me. We'll call it there.